morning, mushrooms, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers, sisters, mothers, misters, and to all my cousins out there around the world. It's time to plug in and get the train a-chugging, because this is breaking down the news and we got a lot of hot headlines for you today. Unfortunately, as usual, the news are not beautiful. We've got 20 soldiers dead after a clash along a disputed border. Where might that border be, you ask? Well, let's find out more. Oh, but a clash, that's a small battle. It's a synonym to what I would say is a skirmish, which we've had before and actually used for the same exact border. It's not a planned battle. It's just one that kind of breaks out quickly and actually ends quickly as well. However, this time, yes, there are casualties. And the border is disputed. If you look at this area in Google Maps, you will not see solid lines, you will see dotted lines, much like there are in many places around the world. And if it's disputed, that means there is a disagreement about where the actual border lies. We got India and China's de facto border. It's not the actual legal border because, well, one group says the border's here, the other group says the border's here. And so there's just kind of a de facto border. It's not official, it's just where it, where it actually is, even though each party says something a little bit different. This is not good. They are both nuclear powers. Let's kind of simmer down, as Bob Marley would say, and chill out, relax, and let the tensions ease up a bit. Casualties just means dead people, right? And so it could be in battles, it could be in accidents, and there's nothing really casual about it. It's always tragic, the loss of human life. It coming from the root of Latin, it just means kind of by chance. Nowadays we have casual versus formal. Of course, well, if something is formal, then you're planning for it, and that's why you get all dressed up in your suits and your evening gowns and your tiaras and whatever else you might wear for a formal event. And if something is casual, you don't prepare for it, and it just kind of by chance. And so that's how that works. Oh, it's just chill, man. 20 people dead, no biggie. No, that's not what it is. Moving on. What would the news be without some COVID? Right up at the top. Groundbreaking find, a groundbreaking discovery for treating COVID-19. Now, that sounds awesome. It could be a game changer. But this word, groundbreaking, you probably have seen this actually before. More coffee. For groundbreaking, you'll see groundbreaking ceremonies, maybe when they're going to build some new stadium or office building or any sort of new building. They'll have a groundbreaking ceremony where the officials and maybe the owners come out with a golden shovel and they break the ground for the first time, officially starting the construction of this new building, facility, etc. Groundbreaking, it could then be the start of something amazing. It's innovative, it's pioneering, it's the first big step in the right direction. Human trials, human testing is expected to start next month for this treatment. Cool. Yeah, I don't want to be one of those first people that they're testing the medicine on because there could be some seriously adverse side effects. We're not going to move forward and we're not going to get better, we're not going to improve, and we're not going to find a vaccine or a cure unless we test it out. So, good luck to all those humans and guinea pigs. Who knows? I don't. I'm not a police officer. I'm an English teacher. Moving on. To condemn someone, and we've had it on the show before, it means to strongly criticize people for their actions, and especially on a moral ground, for a moral reason. To break away from. If you've got a hole and then you break a piece away from. Now, with a cookie or something, you'd say break a piece off for me. But here, in this case, with countries and things, we typically use break away. For example, you have Transnistria, a breakaway republic from Moldova. You have Chechnya, which was sort of a breakaway republic from the Soviet Union and or Russia. Sometimes countries try to break away from the whole. South Ossetia from Georgia as well. And so, to break away from, to sever ties, to cut ties, those connections to the mother country or this relationship. Enough of that phrasal verb. Moving on. On the job, while working. It's just a phrase. That's it. Learn it, know it, love it, live it. it's pretty obvious. So let's move on. Trump scrambles to suppress the Bolton book and alarming truths, blah, blah, blah. To scramble literally means to go up a steep slope or gradient and using both your hands and your legs, and it implies that there's like maybe loose rocks, loose gravel, and so you're trying really hard, but you're not making a whole lot of progress. You're making a lot of effort. Now that idea has then translated into the rest of normal life, and it means to move around desperately quickly, trying to accomplish something, spinning your wheels, but not really accomplishing much. But it's not very graceful. It's in a panicky sort of way. All right, so he's scrambling. He's trying, panicky, running around, trying to suppress the Bolton book. Suppress, to push it down so that way, well, if it's down, then nobody can see it, nobody can read it, nobody will know what is inside the book. And so, yeah, you hear about governments suppressing free speech, suppressing people's rights, suppressing protesters. Every once in a while here on the show, you see me trying to suppress heartburn, indigestion, a burp, or a cough, or hold back a sneeze. Yeah, but here it's a little bit more important than my coughs, burps, and indigestion. Moving on. Tragic story here. 16-year-old climber dies following a fall. Following in this case just means after. Yeah, they didn't necessarily die from the fall. They probably then went to the hospital, but then later tragically passed away as a result of complications from the fall. The fall is the key factor leading up to this person's death. And so it's something that comes after it and usually then happens as a consequence of it. Okie dokie. Moving on. Here we've got a phrasal verb that's actually used literally. North Korea blows up the office, which was used for talks with South Korea. Now, notice I said used was. Well, that's because it no longer exists. They blew it up. They detonated it. They exploded it. They probably could have just dismantled it, taken it down, deconstructed it, or any other number of verbs for removing the building. But in a symbolic gesture, they just decided to explode, to detonate, to blow up the office. Well, North Korea does have a penchant for the dramatic. Moving on. Some more sad news, though. A 75-year-old protester, you may have read about it, seen it, or the video clips, etc. A lifelong peace activist was pushed by police. He tripped in Buffalo, New York, and fell backwards, hit his head, and blood started coming out of his ear. Well, apparently now he has a fractured skull and can't walk and is in really bad shape. And that's, of course, the president then tried to blame him as an Antifa agitator and taking serious actions against the police. He's 75 years old. Sure, he was tall, but he was skinny, frail, fragile, old. And the police shoved him. That's just a synonym for push. All right. Moving on. A black officer was fired after intervening when a white cop put a suspect in a chokehold. So that means they had him by the neck, choking him. And because, well, the news and things that are going on in the news, black officer said, hey, Stephen, can you please not do that? It could cause some problems, maybe some bad media, if not kill the person. And, well, apparently now this black officer has been fired, has lost his job after intervening in the situation. If you intervene in a situation, it means you become involved in it in order to change it or stop it. Yeah? And so, the news. America. Can't make this stuff up. WORRISOME as one word, because it causes you to worry. A bit, yeah? Especially because they have supported him, and now they are going to be forever tied to him. It is tarnishing their reputation and their character and compromising, well, the way society views them. because really most of what he does actually contradicts any of the lessons that Jesus talks, and that's what they supposedly hold to be true. Moving on. CIA cyber weapons were stolen in a historic breach due to woefully lax security. Now let's start here at the back end. We had it once before on the show. Lax means to relax, not strict enough, not strong enough. And so yes, lax security, and woefully just means it's very, very sad, maybe even from up above, distressing. And so woefully lax security. You don't see this word so much, but yeah, woefully lax, usually followed by something bad. And lax, relaxing is good, but lax is too relaxing or not strict enough. And a historic breach, a security breach. Yes, we've got a breach on the south perimeter. We have an intruder. Please intercept him. A breach in the fence. Somebody's able to get through it, to get through their security. It was a breach of their security. And so a breach is like a hole in the fence or a figurative hole through some other secure perimeter. Other meanings for it, but we're sticking with that because that's what's related to the headline. Moving on. Adidas flirts with fashion but remains dedicated to football. Dedicated to, just a dependent preposition. Remains, just a fancy word for stays. We love stay, but, and you see it a lot in the headlines, remain just a little bit more formal for anyone out there writing to their bosses, applying for jobs and or writing academic papers for school. Remains is a nice little bit more formal than just stay. But this is the fun part. They're flirting with fashion. Yeah, we do football, we do sportswear, but like, oh, we're starting to get a little fancy, kind of dancing around it, playing with it, but they're not really going all in on that relationship of Adidas and fashion. Adidas does not want to lose the respect given to them by being all about football, but at the same time, they're flirting with fashion, trying to expand their client base, their customer base. But either way, never mind. Moving on. Simple one here. Rural. A rural town. It's out in the countryside. It's not part of a big city. The opposite of rural is... Viewers? Anybody? No? Okay. Urban. Yeah, everybody knows urban, but rural means out in the country. Urban refers to the city. Just a good pair of opposites to know. Moving on. This is not news whatsoever. Jennifer Gardner explains taking her cat for a walk in a stroller. A stroller, why is this news? Why is this on CNN's front page? I don't know, but I like it because we've got the word here, stroller. Stroller is like that little chair with wheels that you use to walk babies around, and it comes from the verb to stroll. To stroll means to walk for pleasure. You're not going from A to B, you're just going for a walk. Taking a stroll through the park, tra-la-la-la-la. In England, I think they use the word pram, or then there's baby carriage. There's probably differences between the two, but I don't know. No offense to anybody out there, but that's weird. To expand, to contract. That's why we highlighted it, and that's why we're talking about it. Hummingbirds. There's some nice news. Hummingbirds are amazing. Remarkable. That's a word I use all the time, and it means surprising, amazing, or noteworthy. But yes, worthy, or you're able to make a remark about it. To make a remark is to make a comment. Yeah, and if it's something's really boring, you're not going to tell a friend about it. But if it's something surprising or amazing, you want to make a remark. You want to comment on the internet, tell a friend. Yeah, and so it's remarkable. It's noteworthy, worth writing down. Yeah, the remarkable idiocy. Idiocy as an uncountable abstract noun, the state of being an idiot. Well, I don't know how that's news. Last one. Trump defends his cautious walk down a ramp. Now, if you haven't seen some of the videos and some of the memes on this, especially the one with Attenborough commenting on it, cautious walk down a ramp. Now, old people, and he is old, yes, old people fall and break hips and things. And so, I mean, they should be cautious. But he appeared to be overly cautious, which has raised questions and raised concerns about his health. And I really think if you think about it though, if you see the way he stands, where he's like leaned way forward like that, people have argued it's because he wears lifts in his shoes. So he's got a shoe and then he puts something underneath his heel so it makes him appear like 2 inches taller, and that's why he stands really funny. Well, also logically, it extends to walking down a ramp. If your foot's already like this and then you're walking down a ramp, it's going to be like that. Yeah, it's going to be difficult to walk down a ramp. I don't know. I wish somebody would just come out and solve this mystery for us. Those were the headlines for today, Wednesday, the 17th of June. That was breaking down the news for English Otherwise. This has been an all-encompassing month building up to this move, and soon it'll all be over. Most people call me Mr. James, but if you made it this far, you can call me Cameron. And if I don't see you sooner, I normally say I'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m., but I'll see you Friday, 8 a.m. And so, much love, be well, peace out, bye-bye, bye-bye.